Hi, thank you for joining me today. This is Cynthia, and I'm the artist maker for Cynthia's Crafty Corner. If I'm going to share with you a flip through of a swap I'm doing for Casa Azul. It's a Christmas in July swap, and this is what I created. This is two charms on ribbon, a little bit of little bling here. This is a topper. This is little danglies that I added. This is a mixture of vintage pieces, new pieces, and I'm trying to use everything I already have in my stash. This is the topper. It was supposed to be a topper that was removable along with the closure. So this is my uh, ribbon that I kind of distressed. I'll show you later what it looks like without looking like before I did this. And this is a cover that I made using an old file folder for a hanging folder. I wrapped it in tissue by Prima, and I backed it with more cardstock to give it a sturdy feel. Here's my first page. I left it pretty much showing the design. We didn't add anything but Merry Christmas and this vintage ribbon from my mother's stash. I used an old vintage book of Christmas, and I just tore out pages that I thought would fit nicely in here, and that's what I used. I used elementary school pages, writing pages. This is packaging. Made these little tuck spots, little journaling cards. This tags, journaling spots, and this is also a vintage book page from a different book. I ordered some vintage things and it was in there. This lace is from my mother's stash. This is vintage music paper, and I went ahead and I stamped it with some Tim Holtz Christmas stamps. I made these out of Stampin' Up die cuts from years ago, and I die cut them on felt paper, or velour, I guess. These are other pieces from my stash. This is calligraphy paper. You want to learn to do calligraphy, but I figured it would work perfect here for journaling. This is coffee dyed purchase paper, and more ribbons from my stash with a little charm, and vintage lace, more red lace. This is velvet vellum paper, velvet die cuts again, little stamp there. Oh, and this is ledger paper that I've had on my stash for quite a bit. And more of this, little flip up. This is, they are also Tim Holtz. Tim Holtz. Little stamping here with Tim Holtz. Everything I think I focused on for stamping, and I used Tim Holtz. Here's another book page. More vintage lace. I used Lace Boutique's stencil that I just purchased from her to do a lot of stenciling on a lot of these pages. Really fun to use, really simple, just with the sponge and inking. And then I did this here. This is from a vintage book as well. It's a little tiny book that's falling apart, so I made sure to back it so that it protected the, the paper from tearing. Put that in later. More ribbons from my mother's stash, another little charm. More stenciling here on coffee dyed purchase paper. This is another page of that book. I really try to use up this vintage lace on here. I think it just gives it a good pop. And more stamping on this, a little stamping here. I've tried to let the recipient have more space for journaling and for them to add their own things. But it's really hard once you get into start working on junk journals. You put a bunch of things around yourself. You have no choice but to get busy and just start creating. It's really therapeutic for me. I have a very busy job, and this helps me wind down my mind at night. So here we go. And then every creation I make, especially when it's a swap, I like to give a little bit of myself. And I am an owl lover, so I'll make sure to include always something with owls in it. And this paper, I almost was not wanting to part with it, but I figured, it went well with this lace and it went well with this whole journal. I don't know, it just called me for this journal. So it was really smiley. I don't know. The owls seem to be smiling to me. I don't know. But I really enjoyed working with that paper, even though it was just the flip and the lace and the little flower rose vintage lace. Here's more laces used here. Another little charm. Then this is another tuck spot here. And on this side is more stenciling. I got a little more daring with two different colors. More stamping here. Stamping there. The other side of the book pages. I just could not cover these up. I mean, it's up to the recipient if they want to cover it up, but these designs are beautiful, and hopefully I've given them enough space to document on the other side. But of course, it's going to go to another person, so it's up to them what they would like to do. Again, little stamping, the other side of coffee dyed paper. These are also vintage. I got them in a from Etsy. If I remember, um, I'll try to include the Etsy shop I used to get some of these items. And I came with two of them, and I said, oh, well, this is going to be a nice little tag, or what do you call it, a tab, so that we could flip the page easier since it's thinner paper. I made a little tab here with the felt leaf. And then this is another little flip out. Again, they could add pictures here and still showcase this beautiful paper. This book is amazing. These are mixed media cards I made. This is also Tim Holtz. I used a little embossing folder for that. More of these die cuts. Oh, I just like feeling the texture of this. This feels really nice. Hopefully they like it. And this is a little flip up. This is also from Lace Boutique. She has a lot of beautiful washes that I use throughout this. All the washes I used are actually from Lace Boutique. Anna's Wonderland, known and on YouTube. This is Tim Holtz Christmas fabric, and it's actually like flannel. It's like a flannel. So I used a little strip of that. Then I made a little tuck spot here. This removes and it flips up. You can always add a picture under there, or Tim Holtz as well. Here's another of these with some little trim, little candy cane charm. And this is the other side of the music paper with a little tag spot. This is an embossing folder I cut around and I made it to, there we go. I used some gold shimmer paste so that I could outline the images, the embossing, excuse me. And this is a vintage envelope from 1935 that I received as a gift from Lace Boutique with one of my orders. And I just, to strengthen it, because since it's so old, it's starting to rip, I wanted to make sure so I collaged on the other side here with some digitals that I had and used some Lace Boutique washi tape, did a couple of stamping, and that's it. They can use it for whatever they'd like. It still has a pocket in there. And this is a tuck spot as well here, so there's many little tucks and stuff going on. This was the other side of the packaging that I used. Reinforced it with a few things, you know, to make it not so flimsy. This is another plain deck cards that I used. I made a little trifold here, stamped on it. These are probably retired Stampin' Up papers that I've had in my stash. I'm trying to use what I have so that I could either buy more or not sure if I'm just gonna go full digital. I don't know. I'm still debating on that. I like having the facility of just having the papers already printed for me. But I like the digitals in case, you know, because sometimes you like a page more and you want to print more of the same page or what have you. So this is another little vintage page that I got. And we have this one, stamping, joy to the world. So I put a world in there. And this was an afterthought because of the thinness of this paper. This bled over to the other side. And I decided to add something to hide it. So another piece of my mom's vintage laces that she has in her stash, which are now becoming my stash because she keeps bringing me stuff. When she sees that I use it, she brings me more stuff. Oh, I have this for you, I have that for you, and I gladly use it, just like these knitted doilies. And these are little tuck spots here, more lace, more little charm here, another tag here, another piece of it looks, I want to say it's vintage, but there's a barcode, so that might not be vintage if there's a barcode, but it's a vintage look and I like the feel of this paper. It's very textured, so very cute stuff. And I have my little stamp here with my email address, Cynthia's Crafty Corner, and there's always an owl, and roses are always my favorite as well. I hope you enjoyed this little flip through. Hopefully it's not too long of a video. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments and I'll try to answer as best as I can. Hope everyone's having a great Monday. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you.